during 2020 when we would always take pictures, we all had black masks on that would say OG because we all had to wear masks. And so our whole family would be posing, which now hindsight, we look goofy. If you look back, we have these masks on. So I'm like, I started calling us the bandits back then because we'd swoop in and grab trophies and with these masks and then head out. So I said, how about OG bandits? And I'll keep the theme of the mask going. And instead of instead of money, we're stealing trophies, 180s and 700s. And he's like, I like it. So I said, okay, done deal.
Ever notice how the sound of sizzling meat and the smell of smoke can silence the noise of the world? Now that's barbecue therapy. If the fire moves you, like, subscribe, share, and help spread the message because growth, like good barbecue, takes time and patience. Welcome to your therapy session. Welcome to the BBQ Therapy Podcast. My name is Thieves Bryant, and tonight we're sitting down with a team that truly embodies what barbecue is all about: family, community, and championship flavor. From Oak Grove, Missouri, they built a reputation for incredible cooks, created sauces and rubs that capture competition flavor for the backyard, and continue to leave their mark on the barbecue scene. They were crowned grand champions of the 2023 Made for Kansas City BBQ Championship. They were featured at the Kansas City airport, and they've built a brand that's pure heart and authenticity. I'm thrilled to present Miss Ashton Smith and, in his absence, Josh Farley of OG Bandits BBQ. Welcome to Barbecue Therapy. I got one rule: make yourself at home and speak freely.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here. I am. My other half is actually babysitting. Not babysitting, it's his own kids. So he's watching them while
My wife up there doing the same thing. I still consider us a team.
exactly. And we are a team. If you ever see us out there, you'll know we're definitely a team. But when it comes to the house stuff, we definitely tag team just like we do in barbecues.
Exactly. It makes a big difference. Trust
Mhm.
me. All right, let's take it back from the beginning, before the trophies and before the products. How did y'all find competition barbecue?
So actually, we are a blended family, and I met Josh in 2018. And he was on a hunting trip, and I happened to be a bartender at one of the spots he stopped at. And they had told it was him and his brother-in-law, and his brother-in-law was like, "Oh, this was up in South Dakota where my family's originally from and Josh is originally from." And he said, "My brother-in-law is a championship barbecuer." And I was like what? King of the cul-de-sac? What do you mean? Championship barbecuer? And because I had no clue, I did grow up a little bit here in Kansas City and Oak Grove. I graduated from Oak Grove, but we were only here for about 12 years of my life. And then I moved back home because my family ranch is up in South Dakota. And so I knew about the American Royal, but I didn't really know the extent of what comp barbecue was. And he was like, no. And I'm like, whatever. I don't even like barbecue. So that's cool. And he was like highly offended the first time I And then one thing led to another, and we started talking, and he finally disclosed what it meant. And at the time, he was living out in Jersey, and I was in South Dakota. So he's like, can I fly you out here and show you what a barbecue comp's all about? And I was like, okay, I guess so. So I went to my first barbecue comp with him, and I was hooked, not because of the actual cooking, but because it was a big party. And I didn't even realize what was going on in the background with him and his old partner cooking. I just was taking shots and having a good time. And I was like, wouldn't want to do this every weekend. This is so much fun. But then Saturday came and they actually cooked. And I realized, wow, this is a lot of work. This is crazy. And they got RGC for that particular contest. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. So one thing led to another, and time passes, and we decide that we're going to be together and make a life together. And we chose Kansas City as our place to start over together. And we moved here in 2019. And he asked me, he said, do you want to continue to barbecue with me or not? And I said, whatever you want to do, I'll do. If you want to go out on the competition trail, we're in Kansas City. We might as well. It makes sense.
Mhm.
I'll support you in whatever you want to do. So he said, okay. And we, I think, signed up for our first contest here in Kansas City in October of 2019 that year. And he cooked his cook. I didn't want to touch anything. I was very intimidated. I didn't know what was going on. And then we got to brisket, and he's okay, try the brisket. So I did. And I was like, I don't think it's good, but it don't taste like brisket to me. What do you mean? And I'm like, I don't know, brisket. This gets first place brisket. And I'm like, yeah, in Jersey. I'm like, you're in the Midwest now. Brisket, man. So he turned it in, and we ended up getting calls and everything but brisket. And he was really mad. He was like, oh, da, da, da. So I'm like, babe, that's not Midwest brisket. Like, I assume Midwest brisket's like beefy, classic brisket. And I'm not quite sure, but it feels more like pot roast is what you're striving after over there. Apparently, that was the wrong thing to say to a barbecue guy.
You really rubbing it in.
Yeah. So I was being honest. He asked a question, I answered it. So he got upset at me and he's fine. If you think you know brisket so well, you take over brisket. So I said, okay. So the entire off season, I took over brisket. I practiced. We did probably about 25 different briskets. I was taking I was researching everything I could online, everything I saw, comp barbecue. Even in 2019, there wasn't much online as there is now as far as
Mhm.
tell-alls and stuff. So I was looking in forums like probably shouldn't have been looking in, but I was, and I was finding secrets and stuff. And I built my profile, and he said, okay, we're going to sign up for a contest down in Texas in February. And let's go and let's take your brisket and see what happens. So I was like, okay. So the entire trip down to Texas, he was just razzing me. He's, are you sure you want to try your brisket in Texas of all places? I'm like, why not? What do I have to lose? I've never done this before. So I ended up doing it, and we got fifth place overall in brisket. And we went head to head with the number one brisket team in KCBS, and I beat them. That was my hook. I was stuck after that. And he was pretty proud of me. He didn't want to admit it, but he'll admit it now. But at the time, he was. And
That's
then,
right.
yeah, and that's what happened is I had asked him, I had been a single mom of my two boys for many years and working three jobs and all this before I met him. And he had no kids, and he was a single guy out in New Jersey. And I was like, how can you afford to do this barbecue thing? That's crazy to me. And he's, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's a lot of money just to we could go to the bar and hang out on a Friday night. I'm confused. And so I asked him, I said, hey, what's your end goal with this? I said, I'll support you in whatever you want. That's a trip to Disney World every year that we're just
Mhm.
throwing at the fires, basically, hoping for a name to be called. So I said, do you want a restaurant? Do you want rubs and sauces? Do you want, what do you want like out of this? Or is this just fun? And he's like, my main goal has always been a team of the year trophy. I just want a team of the year trophy from KCBS. That's what I want. So I said, okay. I said, let's do that then. I will help you achieve that goal. And then once we're done with that, we're taking the kids to Disney World. And he's okay. He said, done deal. And I'm like, okay, done. That's what we were planning on doing for 2020 is we had set aside, we were going to do close to 50 contests. We were gearing up to do it, and then COVID hit. And we all just, for a while there, after everything shut down, we didn't know what was going to happen. And I just knew I had a freezer full of Snake River Farm brisket that I was freaking out about. And slowly but surely, though, the contest started coming back a little bit. And in the year of COVID, we ended up doing, I think, like 25 contests, but we
Oh
had to go
wow.
to 13 different states.
Ooh.
One weekend we were in Wyoming. We came home that Monday. Josh was still working. He's an essential worker, he's an electrician. So he worked Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday we packed up and we headed down to Mississippi. And so Monday we were in Wyoming, Thursday we were in Mississippi. And it was easier on us then because the kids were out of school already because they had shut down school. I
Mhm.
was a bartender server. My restaurant was shut down that I was working at. So it was really just Josh, and they were essential, but they were doing not their full workload. So as terrible as 2020 was for everybody, honestly, it was very bonding for us as a family because we were driving, we went to Pennsylvania, we went all over the country, and it allowed us as a family to see things that we normally wouldn't have seen and do
Mhm.
things we normally wouldn't have done. And we spent a lot of time together that year. And it just so turns out that we ended up second in the world in chicken that year for team of the year. And I believe we were like 14th or 13th overall. So we got I got him 2 team of the year trophies that he could hang up on our wall, and we did it. So that was big for us. So that's was our goal, but he knew better. He knew I wasn't gonna be done with it because he knew what barbecue was. So then when the time came and he was like, "Okay, we did it. Yay, and we're done." And I'm like, "What do you mean we're done? We still have all this. We can go here, we can go there." I'm like, "Things are finally opening up." And he's, "What?" And he quickly learned he created a monster out of me. And
Gotcha.
yeah, that's what started that. So it was all
But that's
him.
exactly, and that's what I tell people. I love to see married couples do it because they know each other the best. They know when something's off with their partner. They know
Mhm,
when something's that how to cheer them up, snap them out of it. When something going on, or snap her out of it. When something going on, that's why I like married couples. A lot of them do it to get out the house, but those that have married couples as a team is more a good flow and it's more under control because you know the other person, everything about that person, and you know how to respond based on how they're acting, if it's good or bad and stuff like that. I love how you do that, and I love how you like my wife. Okay, what's the end game? What are you doing here? My question, I don't like the podcast. I'm doing it. I don't know where this is going, but I'm gonna see where it goes.
but
She
you're
knows
doing it.
exactly. She knows I'm gonna work hard when I get into it, do my best. But I was like, I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna play out, but I'm not gonna quit just because I get frustrated or anything like that. But as well as anything else I do, so that's why I love the dynamic of husband and wife and stuff like that because it's better than any other just having somebody in the truck and you got
Mhm.
an attitude at them or something like that and they don't even know it, or you mad at something else and they don't know how to get you back together and help you to snap out of it. Definitely applaud that. So how did y'all get the name OG Bandits? It sounds like a minor league baseball team.
Actually, when we first joined together, Josh's team out in the East Coast was Pig and Whiskey. Him and Brant Williams, they had Pig and
Wow,
Whiskey together.
never heard of that.
Yeah. So Brant's a force in his own nature, and Brant called me Yoko Ono for a while because I broke up the band. It was pretty rough there for a minute, but when we moved down here, we decided because they both had founded Pig and Whiskey together. So we had asked, or Josh had asked Brant if we could be Pig and Whiskey OG, like the second chapter, because at that time Brant was living in Pennsylvania. So Brant's like, yeah, absolutely. And that way we didn't have to redo the trailer or anything because it was already wrapped. We just added an OG because we're from Oak Grove. So we just
Mm.
added the OG to it. Then after our 2020 run, Josh was he thought we were done because that's what I had said. I'm like, "No, we're not done. We still have chasing to do," like a crazy woman I was. And we did take the kids on a vacation. It wasn't Disney World, but we did take the kids on vacation. But he said, "You be the head cook then. You be the head cook. I don't want to be the head cook anymore. So you make a team yourself and I'll cook with you." And I said, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I said, "Okay." So I started OG Bandits, and the reason why the Bandits came into play was because during 2020, when we would always take pictures, we all had black masks on that would say OG because we all had to wear masks. And so our whole family would be posing, which now hindsight, we look goofy. If you look back, we have these masks on. So I'm like, I started calling us the bandits back then because we'd swoop in and grab trophies and with these masks and then head out. So I said, how about OG bandits? And I'll keep the theme of the mask going. And instead of instead of money, we're stealing trophies, 180s and 700s. And he's like, I like it. So I said, okay, done deal. And I am originally from South Dakota. That's where my family is. And Old West and cowboys. And that's very much so a part of my heart and soul. And that we just played off that and went with it.
Yeah, I'm a big Western fan. Can't tell me Clint Eastwood ain't the best.
Exactly. There's something about old school westerns that just have a soft. My dad's a cowboy, a real cowboy. He grew up on ranches. They still ranch and
Oh,
raise
wow.
horses and cattle. It's part of my blood, and I just wanted to honor that a little bit. But that was before I knew what was coming for us. At that time, it was just me having fun with a team name, and that's what we became. All because of the masks in 2020.
It's a good concept. You put a lot of thought into it. Now, when you explain it, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's why.
But I love the logo and I love the name because it's different. Yeah, so
Thank
that
you.
was a good job. What's the toughest part of the competition circuit, you think? Time, cost, pressure, or something else entirely?
Right now for us, we have, like I said, we have 4 kids. Our oldest is a senior, our youngest is 2 years old. It definitely is cost because we have sports, we have now senior stuff going on, we have our 4-year-olds in preschool. We have a lot of costs coming out besides barbecue, and that is one. I know there's a lot of talk about them switching from the 4 meat to the 2 meat and allowing masters to go do 2 meats. For us personally, that would be awesome because if we could just swoop in, do a contest, and leave within a day and cook 2
Mhm.
meats, we would cook probably every weekend, and it would allow us financially to open that up. But yeah, the costs right now are getting a little. I just signed up for the Royal today.
Uh-huh.
We were waiting and because we didn't know if we were going to do it. And then I was like, oh, we might as well. Let's just do it. And because we do this every year, we always say, we're not. And then we get FOMO and then we're like, we should probably do it.
I mean, why not? You only live
Yeah,
once.
exactly. And a dang barbecue, it always wins. But I mean, that it's gone up significantly since we first competed in 2019 there. And it's, what you have kids, you know what it's like.
Yes. Formula, diapers, daycare.
Yeah, daycare and all this stuff, and then you had the teenagers with the cars and the insurance, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm done."
Exactly.
Mm,
That's a lot. So my hats go off to you in doing that. It's definitely a lot that goes into it. That's why like the Rib Association, the Rib Cook-Off
mhm,
Association is stealing a lot of people because it's easier to swoop in one day and swoop out and cook one meat and maybe a wing and get out of there. But
yep.
that them brisket prices, it's just hey, you know how much you could do with $200-300 brisket money.
Right, and then they want you to cook a double, and
So
I'm like, "That's a lot just for brisket." So, yeah,
exactly.
it's pretty brutal, and I'm hoping, like, the housing, it'll bubble and pop pretty soon, and we'll start going down on the one of the most expensive hobbies I have ever done.
So I look forward to it, but I don't look forward to it. 'Cause right
Exactly, that's
now, it's cheap to do this.
yeah, I maybe I should start I'll podcast with you.
Come on, it's nice and easy.
Yeah,
All
that's,
right. Let's talk about your huge moment with the 2023 Made for Kansas City BBQ Championship win. Let's talk about how did you prepare and whose idea was it to sign up? Was it yours or was it a group
so we
decision or
actually we did the first year and we tanked, which was very unusual for us. I think that was the first contest we've ever gotten. I think we were second to last the first year we did it,
oh
which
wow.
is I'm not saying that we're so good we shouldn't have been there, but that was very unusual for us. And he swore he would never do it again. He's like, I don't know what the I'm like, okay, whatever. So then the next year they opened up the thing again. And at this point in time, we had both teams going. So we both our teams qualified for it by qualifications. And since it's a lottery that they put your name into and they only picks a certain amount, he had asked, would he said, can we put both our teams in? And they said, yeah, you can put both teams in if you qualify for it. So we did, not thinking in a million years both teams would get picked, but they did.
Wow.
So then we had a choice. Do we, and since we did so terrible the first year, him and I are like, we should just go head to head. And we've always wanted to do that. Let's do it. I'll take 2 cans, you take 2 cans, let's go head to head. And whoever comes out on top is the winner of the household. And that's what we were going to do, not thinking we were going to win or anything. It was just more of a fun, let's do head to head. But then I was super pregnant. The contest came with our youngest. And as the contest got closer and closer, I was like, I think I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. What do you mean? And I'm like, Josh, by the time June gets here, I'm gonna be 8 months pregnant. Like, it's gonna be
Oh.
hot. I don't know if I could be cooking by myself, if that's a good idea. So he's okay. So what do you want to do? I said, I think we should drop a team and we should just cook together because I'm way too close to giving birth here to be doing this. So he's okay. So he dropped his team and we kept mine in. And again, when we went into that, we honestly were just having fun because we had no expectations
Mhm.
because we did so bad there the first year that I was like, let's just cook our cook. And what's funny about it is what happened was I had non-alcoholic beers in the fridge. And the night before, Josh and his buddies had gone through all of his beer, his IPAs and stuff. So on cook day, all that was in the fridge was non-alcoholic. So he's, man, all I have is this beer. And I'm like, you can drink it because I'm obviously not drinking. I thought I would, but I don't even like beer. So I don't know why I got it. So he drank those all day. And I credit the non alcoholic Bush Lights because he was on point. I was on point. Obviously, I was pregnant, so I was sober. And we just, yeah, we had a great cook, but again, we had zero expectations going into it. We just cooked our cook. We were away from everybody because I was so pregnant. I just wanted to be left alone. I didn't really want to be involved in anything. And yeah, I didn't think anything of it when awards came because it was just our normal cook, which the year before had been our normal cook too. So I wasn't
Was it like
expecting anything.
4 meat, like the 4 meat regular
It is,
competition?
yeah. It's chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket. But this one's a little bit different as they provide the meat for you.
Oh.
You're not cooking Wagyu, you're cooking choice. And the reason for that being is when you are in the restaurant, you are not cooking Wagyu, you are cooking your normal briskets. So they wanted to judge it based off of what you could do with the food that they would be serving in a restaurant. And so that year that I practiced all those dang briskets, trying to find that flavor profile, really helped us out because I had cooked so many store-bought briskets that we had those down to a T. It wasn't we were pretty used to it by then. Yeah, and we cook chicken legs. We're a chicken leg team. We don't cook thighs, we cook legs. And
Mm.
they offered thighs or legs because they
Oh.
knew that some teams did one or the other. So they allowed that. But yeah, it was actually, personally, I wish every contest was like that because it really
Mhm.
levels the playing field. You have nobody knows what they're getting in their cooler, and it was a lot of fun.
And that's a way to tell who's people brag about who's the best, but you never know who's the best based on the product because everybody can't afford that stuff out there, and if you got a very expensive meat, it's hard to really just mess it up like that. Versus, so it makes it an even playing field, and it shows who can really cook and who's just coasting by to the finals
Yeah,
and stuff.
whoever has the most money isn't winning that one. It's whoever can really truly cook. And that's what I absolutely love about that contest. And they got a lot of pushback from it, but we were always on board with it. We always thought it was something that if you can't
Hmm.
cook a normal brisket, then are you truly a
Plus,
pitmaster?
it's
Like,
their contest. You can't push back on somebody. It's their contest.
yeah, it was as much as the barbecue family's family, it's also drama. But we did it, and when we got to awards, like I said, we weren't expecting anything. We were getting calls, and then we kept getting calls, and then we kept getting calls, and they were high calls, and we finally get to brisket, and I think we got, like, 3rd place brisket or something, and I wasn't even thinking we were in the running. So I'm sitting there, okay, and someone had congratulated us walking back, "You guys just won," and I'm like I look at Josh, I'm like, "It's crazy. No, we didn't." And I'm like, "There's this person that should be ahead of us." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on." So then they started calling overall, and I look like an Oompa Loompa. I'm huge. Like my belly is out. I'm swollen. And they start calling the top 5 and they get 5, 4, 3. And I'm like, how are we not 3rd? Because the person who I thought won it ended up being like 4th. So I was like, okay. And I look over at Josh and he has our son, who at the time was like 1 in his hand, and he's like pacing, which is his nervous pace. And I was like, "Oh, he thinks we won." And so my heart was just when they called RDC, my heart was just fluttering and it wasn't us. So I'm like, "There's no way." I'm like, "There's no way. We had to have we did something wrong. There's no way. This I'm pregnant. We can't have a restaurant right now. This is crazy. Like, we're getting ready to have another baby." And then they called us and it was a fever dream. Like, I don't even remember it. I see pictures of people hugging me, but I'm pretty sure my blood pressure spiked super high. I'm shocked my water didn't break. And it was like it was unreal because now I was about to have a newborn and a restaurant and all this responsibility, and I just couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it.
Wow. How far into it did the baby come?
So we won in June, and Addie was born August 7th. So they allowed us to take some time off for the birth. And then shortly after like a week or 2 after she was born, we had to hit the ground running because we needed to get all of our rubs and sauces. So with the restaurant comes a rubs and sauce deal that you put out.
Oh.
So luckily for us, we already had our own stuff that we were working with. So
Mhm.
it was just a matter of putting it into retail form, which that part was fairly easy for us. It was the menu development for the restaurant. I grew up in the industry. I know all about restaurants. I was a food and beverage manager for many years. I know. Josh is an electrician, has no clue. It was quite the dynamic because it's all these restaurant people talking restaurant lingo, and Josh is, "I'll just go run the pits." I don't know what's going on. So it really helped us. And I truly believe our background really helped our success that we ended up having for the 18 months. And it was quite a journey. It was quite a journey.
So did they set it up how y'all wanted it, or did they have a specific setup already in there and y'all just had to work around it?
So we got to do everything. They brought in like our director of operations at the time was a fabulous chef who used to own his own gastropub down in Texas. And he was wonderful. He sat down with us and he's the bottom line guy, right? I'll let you do what you want, but our bottom line is to make money, right? Which as someone who's worked in restaurants my whole life, I get it, right? Like I understand that. It's not about making fancy dishes. This is barbecue. This is about making profit and going. So they actually took us to Cisco, where we got to go talk to the chefs at Cisco, see the products that they had. We had a rough idea of what we wanted. We wanted a more traditional barbecue place where you get plates and stuff like that. And I knew I didn't want your typical sides. Like I didn't want the cheesy corn. I was okay with the coleslaw, but I didn't want the cheesy corn. So I said, "What else can we do besides cheesy corn?" And they were like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Personally, when I eat barbecue, I love corn on the cob. Like I love corn on the cob with my barbecue." And I'm like, "But that's not realistic in a restaurant." And they're like, "We have these things called corn ribs." And they
Mm.
showed me them. And what they are is they're deep fat fried. They cut the stuff off the corn off the cob, bread them, deep fat fry them, and then we would season them however we would want. They were the best things I'd ever had in my life. I'm like, "Put them on the menu." Like, and no other restaurant in the Kansas City area had them because they were so new. So I was like, "Let's do it." And so it was things like that. But no, we got to go in there. I had asked if we could have a uniform and have them wearing our t-shirts. They said absolutely. So they got the t-shirts for them. We had everything was orange and black because those are our colors and that's what we wanted. So it was pretty cool. They followed pretty much anything I asked for, they gave me. And it was a lot of fun.
Okay. And at that time, did you go back to work in your other job, or were you full time in the restaurant? And was he doing his electricity job?
So he's always worked, he works for Faith Technologies, which is one of the biggest electrical companies in the world. So he's a superintendent. So he has a pretty good job there that he's pretty loyal to. At the time, because I had our son Jameson, and after our COVID run, I ended up getting pregnant that November. We ended up having too much time spent together on the road. You know how that is. We ended up having Jameson in July of 2021, and then we had Adeline in 2023. I was at that point a stay-at-home mom, which allowed us to do this a little bit differently. He could go to work full time. I was at home with the kids, but that
Mhm.
allowed me the opportunity to deal with the business side of it. The restaurant ran itself for the most part. We would make it up there. We would try and make it up at least every weekend or every other weekend, depending on what was going on, but for the most part, the restaurant ran itself. It was more of the backside of it of emails and questions and stuff like that. So they have a really great team up there that's what they do. And anytime there was a question of what to do, they would call me immediately and I would give them an answer. Or if they needed me up there, I could be up there because I was home. I wasn't working. So it was we were lucky in that fact that we had that dynamic in our house.
Yeah, I love the concept because it gives different people, a chance to have their own restaurant instead of just giving the building to a name brand place that everybody knows and stuff like that. It gives a chance to somebody that wants to have a restaurant to compete for it and win it, that may be able to not have a restaurant on their own. So, as well as rubs and stuff like that. So it's an excellent idea. But how did it feel seeing having your big logo in there, thousands of people every day coming in and looking at it?
So it was emotional for both of us when we first put that sign up because like I had told you in the beginning, he told me he just wanted to do this for fun, right? And we never thought in a million years that it would lead us to an 8,000 square foot restaurant in the Kansas City airport. We had we had Chiefs players that now knew who our names were. Things that like him and I were just a husband and wife goofing off in the trailer talking about, excuse me. And now all these things are happening and it happened very quickly. We had the news. It was so surreal. It still is. It still is surreal. That was an opportunity we won and it was we were originally there for 12 months and then they extended our contract for another 6 months. So we ended up
Oh,
being there
wow.
for 18 months. So it was a lot of fun. And the thing about it, like you said, is it gives people who never would have the opportunity. Like him and I, maybe someday we could have had a restaurant. Where we're at in our life right now, it just wasn't feasible financially. but it allowed us to have our ideas, showcase our food, and see if people even liked our food to open a restaurant. You always have that doubt in the back of your head because it's not comp. You can't cook comp barbecue when you're in a restaurant, and it's totally different. So it gave us that space to be creative without us having to worry financially. And we will forever be indebted and grateful to OHM that allowed us to do that.
Yeah, great opportunity for y'all. And it ain't about our time, and it's God said it's time, it's time. You gotta get out there and make it work. But
And
he'll
that's
give you
yeah.
the resources you need. So when it's
And
time,
I think because him and I were struggling so hard with where we wanted to go in the next direction, he really did. God stepped in and said, "This is where you're going." And he laid that path out for us. And
hmm
it I believe in everything's already predestined. And that's one of those things where when we started doubting what we were going to do next, and then they said, "Here you go. This is what you're going to do
exactly.
next."
Let me help you out. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. And through the process, you started a food truck. What inspired you to start the food truck?
So when you're in the airport, you have
Mhm.
massive amount of people who are seeing your name. Most of the people that are flying, obviously flying out of Kansas City are Kansas Cityans.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily a layover city. It's more of people who live here fly out. So when we started gaining momentum there and we were getting positive feedback and stuff, we want to strike when the iron's hot, right? Him and I sat down at the very beginning. We said, okay, what do we want out of this? Because we had this conversation. There's a lot of ways this can go. We can sit at home, not do anything, and get our royalty check every week and call it a day, right? We can grow this into something for our kids that we're going to be passionate about. And if they choose to ever follow in our footsteps, they can do that. So, what are we going to do? So, him and I decided at the very beginning, we're going to run this as far as we can run this for our kids. We want to leave a legacy for them. If they choose to follow us, great. If not, okay, it was fun. Him and I did it. So that's pretty much what led us to the food truck. We took over in March. Him and I had the conversation. He had it built by May. And I was a little hesitant about how quickly we were moving, but he's no, let's get it out there. You wanted to do this, let's do this. So I said, okay. Yeah, so he had it built by May. We went down. We actually bought it in Georgia, the people who built it for us.
That's where
We
I'm
went
at.
down, yeah, down to Georgia to go get it. And the rest is pretty much, yeah, we got it wrapped. It was amazing. Brant, Josh's old partner, is a graphic artist. And he's in retirement, I think, but we had asked him to come out of retirement to do our trailer. So he did our trailer for us. And it's just everything we thought it would be. And now we're getting to the point where we're getting so big that people keep asking us, when are we opening our own brick and mortar? And I'm like, I don't know, man, like this food truck keeps us pretty dang busy. We do a lot of catering. Like we're busy with catering all the way till December right now. We do a lot of catering. And yes, a brick and mortar would make it a lot easier to do the catering, but I don't know if we're quite there. People keep asking, and I don't know. We have some stuff in the works, but I don't know if we're quite there yet.
So who's all helping with the catering and the food truck?
So right now it's just him and I. This summer, my oldest worked with me all summer long. We took it out to Josh's job site. Yeah, we took it out there 3 days a week. And my oldest Andrew and I worked on the food truck for every lunch for them. And then on the weekends, we would go wherever festival or whatever thing. What we found out is a lot of barbecue competitions want to serve the public food, but they can't due to health code reasons.
Mhm.
Well, we have our permit, we have our thing. So Friday nights, we've been vending at barbecue comps, and then Saturday, we turn around and cook the comp. So it made cooking
Oh.
comps easier for us because we could make our money Friday night and then
Mhm.
just cook whatever. So it's been a pretty cool concept that we've been able to do with that. And it's been fun there too. But yeah, otherwise,
Okay.
it's just Josh and I. We are the only ones that do it. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Woo. I know it is. So for people that's looking to start their own food truck, what are some of the challenges and what are some of the upsides to doing a food truck?
So the biggest challenge is the amount of permits and things like that you need. Here in Missouri, it's county-based permit, and then you gotta go each city you go into is
Wow.
a city-based permit. It's it's a lot of money for before you even do anything.
Ooh.
And then once you do that, then it's a matter of it's an all-day job. Just 2 weeks ago, we did a festival. We vended from 3 to 10 PM on Friday, and then from 10 AM to 10 PM on Saturday.
Ooh.
And it was straight
Sh-
vending. There's no time for breaks. You're out there and you're slinging meat. That's what you're doing. So it's a lot of endurance and a lot of it's a full-time job. The upside to it though is one weekend can be a full paycheck for you, and you if you do it right and you do it smart, you can easily make a very good living on it. And you're on wheels, so you can go anywhere, you can do anything, and that's what I like about it. I like the flexibility about the food truck because if my kid is sick or has a doctor's appointment or something and I can't open, I'm not letting a bajillion people down with like I would if I didn't open my brick and mortar. So I
Mhm.
like the fact that we can make our own hours and do our own thing with it. That's pretty much what we can do right now for us. So
Yeah,
it's
a lot of people
it's
don't see. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
A lot of people don't see the backside, like when you said 10 to 10, but there's a whole other side before that where you have to prep, stock up, actually cook the meat and all this other stuff. And they don't see that time, which goes from 8 to 10 hours to 15 to 20 hours.
Yeah, it's not like we could make burgers on site. No, this is briskets and stuff that all had to be cooked. Friday night when we got home and we got back and we unloaded everything and we were cleaning out everything, then we were turning around getting ready for Saturday. And I think Kim and I got 2 hours of sleep before we started working that 10 to 10.
Ooh,
So, it does it's exhausting. But like I said, it's all what do you want out of it? What are
yeah,
your goals and what do you want? So that's it all depends on you and what you want, how hard you work.
definitely true. All right, let's try to sell some rubs. We're going to go through each of your products and just tell me a little bit about each
Okay.
one. All right. Let's start with the Bandit Original Barbecue Sauce.
So that is our classic Kansas City sweet and smoky sauce. It is we call it our chicken nugget sauce because that's what our kids call it. It's your classic barbecue that everyone loves. It's not too hot, it's not too sweet, it's just your smoky, nice barbecue sauce.
All right. And the Saddle Up Sweet Heat Barbecue Sauce.
So that is a concept off of our ribs in Comp World that we brought over to the retail world. It is a cherry habanero flavor, but the habanero flavor is not too spicy that if a 4-year-old takes a taste of it, they're not going to go screaming to their parents. It's a very mild, but you still get that flavor of the habanero, right? Like the it doesn't burn your mouth, but it's a nice sticky sweet hot sauce. It's a pretty color too. When it bakes on that saddle up sweet heat's really pretty. It's a pretty mahogany.
And the Tangy Tumbleweed Barbecue Sauce.
So that is our vinegar based sauce. We call that our pork sauce. We pair it with pork because I think pork and vinegar go together really good.
Mm.
But it is more vinegary and tangy on the tangy side of it.
Cattle Rustler Brisket Rub.
That is the number one hot rub at the American Royal this year. I'm very proud of that. That is my brisket concoction all those years ago. That is it should really be called an AP, and I wish we would have called it an AP because that's what it is. It has a very heavy umami flavor to it. It's beefy and delicious, but we put it on our chips. In the food truck, we make our own chips and we put it on our chips and people are like, "That's crack." Like, it's just it's so good. Burgers, brisket, everything. It's literally one of the best and the American Royal said it was one of the best rubs ever.
Exactly.
So,
All right. The Gold Rush Poultry Rub.
So that one is our poultry. It's going to have a honey peach flavoring to it. It's
Mm,
a little bit different than your normal rubs. It's really good on veggies and fish and poultry and turkey. Really good on turkey. If anyone's looking for a turkey rub for Thanksgiving, that's 100% it. It's more fruity. I always say don't judge that rub by the taste of it out the bottle because it cooks way different and it's really good and it's just very complimentary to poultry.
okay. Outlaw rib rub.
So that is going to be a spicy pecan. It has jalapeno in it and heavy black pepper. It's sweet though. It's but not overly sweet. It's more on the heat side of it. Very good on pork, very good. But I have had people tell me that it's really good on their steaks or their chicken or whatever they're using it on. So I but it's more of the heat. It's the next one you're gonna talk about, it's that one, but with more heat.
The pecan bounty.
Yeah.
Pecan.
So that one is our pork. That's a sweeter pecan flavor, more of your traditional barbecue flavor, I guess, that it would be. It's pretty mild. It goes really good with pork or ribs or anything like that. But yeah, that's the more sweeter one.
All right. And the bucking brisket rub.
Our buck and brisket wrap. It's our
Wrap,
so
I
when
mean.
we I know you're good. When we opened the restaurant, one of the biggest concerns for us was holding brisket because they were cooking like 26 brisket a day. You serve so many people, right? And
uh,
when you slice your brisket, then it holds and you lose all that juice and all that stuff. And if you ever reheat a brisket or put it in a warmer, it starts to turn gray because all that moisture is being sucked out of it. So I had asked our co-packer if they could take I made my brisket au jus, my brisket wrap, and I said, "Can you take this and put it in powder form?" And they looked at me like I was crazy. I was like I just want this in powder form. So they did, and the team was awesome and they worked on it and we got it in powder form. So what you do is you take a third cup of that and you add 3 cups of water, or I do beef stock,
Mhm,
and you let that simmer and you boil it down a little bit and you put it in your brisket before you when you wrap it, or you can
mhm,
put it after the fact, put it on your brisket, let your brisket sit in it, and it just retains that juice. It's a smoky, beefy flavor that is easy to get when you need it because it's right there in that bottle and you don't have to carry around tons of stock. It has more depth than just stock alone, so they nailed it. I'm pretty proud of that one too.
yeah, that's cool that they're able to do that, and you said put it in powder form.
Yeah, it's there's a whole science behind it and it was pretty cool and it the thing about it at the restaurant though, it was a game changer because we could let that brisket sit on the warmer in that, and when you would put it on the plate or the sandwich, you still got that smoky flavor, you still got that fresh flavor, and it was it's yeah. So our food truck and it's winning out in the trail too. Everyone that uses it scores with it. But that's not what I intended that to be bought to for competition. That was more for home use and the restaurant and the food truck. And so many people were asking for it that we ended up going retail with it this year.
All right, y'all competing, running a business, working full time job, managing products, raising families all at once. How do you balance it all?
Very carefully. No, a lot. We're a great team, him and I, honestly. That's what it comes down to. And we have an amazing support system within both of our families. So if there's ever anything we need, like the I just told you we were working those 10 hours, 12-hour shifts. My dad flew in from South Dakota and my stepmom and they came in and they worked the truck with us that weekend. And whenever we need his parents to come and help out, they'll babysit hands down. And they live in South Dakota. They live 6 hours away, but everybody stops and helps us. And we're very fortunate that we have that. It takes a village, especially with this business and him working all the time and everything. So we're very blessed though that we have that village to help us.
That's excellent to hear that everybody's gathering and rallying behind y'all dream and pushing it forward. So it's definitely good to hear. All right, in the next 5 to 10 years, where do you see OG Bandit Barbecue?
Hopefully, we will have a brick and mortar because I think that's where him and I are going for. And I just want to be a name that people know. And when they come to Kansas City, where can I get good barbecue? Oh, OG Bandits is great. And I think we could do that. And I have full faith in that. So that's where I want to be.
We need you to take out there, hopefully, and say, I will be in a brick and mortar. All right. But that's all the questions I have. I got one quick game and I'll get you out of here. In college basketball, they have a tournament bracket. So what I created was a tournament bracket with 16 meats that you cook on the grill. And just tell me which one you prefer to eat, and we'll see which one's the winner. All right. First matchup, beef ribs versus lamb.
Beef ribs.
Okay. Next matchup is smoked ham versus smoked turkey.
I'm going to go with ham.
Okay. Burnt ends versus hot dog. Uh, pork ribs versus steak.
Steak. I'm a steak girl.
All right. Smoked bologna versus brisket.
Brisket.
You laughing. Bologna won a few times. The whole thing. All right. Barbecue shrimp versus sausage.
I like shrimp more. That's going to be weird, but I do.
All right. Pork chop versus smoked chicken.
Pork chop.
All right. I love pork chop. All right. A pork belly versus hamburger.
Oh, pork belly.
All right. Next round is beef ribs versus ham.
Beef ribs. Sorry, ham.
Burnt ends versus steak.
Steak.
All right. Brisket versus shrimp.
Oh, brisket. Dang it.
And pork chop versus pork belly.
Oh, no. I'm going to go with pork belly.
All right. And final four, we got beef ribs versus steak.
Steak. I'm sorry. I know it's going to win. I can save you.
And brisket versus pork belly.
I'm going to do brisket.
All right. And brisket versus steak, and you said steak is the winner.
Yeah. Okay, but let me clarify.
Go ahead.
Steak only made by Josh. That man, he's taken me to some of the nicest chop houses in America. We've had some of the best beef, but I will forever only eat his steak. I don't care what anyone says. So if you ever get an opportunity to try his steak, everyone out there, do it. It's the best steak I've ever had.
All right. And Miss Ashton, your therapy session is over. If you want to promote your websites or anything you're doing, you can definitely do that at this time.
Okay, we are www.ogbandits.com. You can get all of our rubs and sauces there. Other than that, thank you so much for having me on. I had a blast.
No problem. No problem. Glad you enjoyed it. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And hopefully it'll inspire people out there. All right. But on that note, we'll see everybody next episode. We just wrapped up another session of barbecue therapy. Remember, stay patient, stay passionate, and keep that fire burning. Hit subscribe, share the good smoke, and pay the secretary on your way out. Have a blessed day.